afternoon, good evening, whatever it might be, wherever it is that you might be. Back in the saddle again for another exciting 425 show. Glad to see everybody's here. We're gonna work a little bit more today on some stuff. Our ADFS.me app that we started on like a couple weeks ago. Finally gonna get some time to wrap that up. We got a couple other interesting things coming too. I think we're going to finally get some movement on our PIM portal, or our little PIM ascension button, so that you can elevate from like a giant red button or really any type of automatic actuator of your choice. Shannon's got a bunch of stuff that she's getting ready, all about like enterprise permissions, or what is it? Intra permissions management, aka Cloud Knox, aka don't be overprivileged and make sure people have the right access. So that'll be cool. That's going to be going, that's going to be basically the rest of like the next few months for sure, and probably all the way till summer. There's going to be lots of stuff on EPM, so that'll be cool. So yeah, things are getting busy. Tomorrow we got some B2X stuff we're going to work on. So if you're around tomorrow, same time, try to get some B2X things going on. Because of course yesterday I went to go visit a customer. We talked about B2X and they're like, "Hey, we'd like to see a demo." I'm like, "Yeah, me too." So we're gonna, gotta get on that. So try to get that going. So I hope all of you are. I hope everybody's doing well. Staying out of trouble. Or at least if you're getting in trouble, at least it's hopefully it's the good, right kind of trouble, correct kind of trouble. Like I said, today we're going to work on ADFS.me, which is our like, hey, do you have ADFS thing? And then we're going to, if somebody does have it, we're going to give them lots of resources to go try to start getting out of that. But I have to say, I made a grave error this week. I went and bought an ultra-wide monitor thing because they had them at the office in Charlotte. One of these big 49 Samsung things. Looks awesome, don't get me wrong. And I loved it in the office. For streaming, it's not good because this is like a window capture of just VS Code, which means that like if we're gonna switch to terminal, we gotta like switch sources, a little silliness. Like I have a bad feeling about this, and I have a strong feeling that I'm gonna end up back at least having one like normal shaped monitor, which kind of defeats the whole purpose because like it's nice to have one cord that goes from your computer to your monitor, right? Like so having to have multiples, I don't know. Anyway, so today might be a little the transition wise might just be a little sketchy. I'm not saying it's going to be awful. It's probably not going to be very good. Not that it's typically super good, but other thing. Make sure you join Discord. I guess I should say that again for the 9,000th time. You'll all be tired of me saying that for too long, but make sure you come and hang out with us on Discord. I'm curious to know what folks thought of Ignite last week, because of course we didn't want to try to do anything while Ignite was also going on. I didn't really get to watch much of it, but I did see that what is it called, the metaverse avatar things? I don't know. And I work remote, right, every day. I'm not entirely sure that a virtual thing is necessarily going to make me necessarily going to be super exciting to make me feel more included in meetings. I mean, maybe it will. But I sort of feel like the number of folks in a meeting is inversely proportional to the productivity of said meeting, right? And so if there are too many people, and you're not contributing, just leave. Like that's what I feel. It's like if there's nothing that I can really add to this meeting, like I'll go find something else to do. Right? I'll go do some other work. So that's my opinion. Maybe metaverse meetings will be the best thing since sliced bread. I was actually at the store the other day with my little one, and I saw the Meta Quest 2 or whatever. I don't know if anybody's used these. Like, I haven't really ever used like VR goggles, short of maybe like years ago when you could stick your phone in a thing and like stick it on your face. I've used it then. But beyond that, I've never done like VR for reals. I have no idea if it's gonna like make me nauseous or like uncomfortable or whatever. So I just don't know. But it did look pretty neat, and it was like relatively inexpensive. Like, I guess maybe I'm getting old. I thought VR was still like a really pricey thing, but it's like $200 or $300 or $300 maybe. I don't remember. So it's like, well, I guess if VR is cool, and if $300 is what gets you like an immersive meeting experience, then like, I don't know, maybe that's it. I mean, I guess the other long-term thing would be, instead of buying a monitor, you just buy like a headset, right? And you would do all your work on that. Which I think would probably be great for like corporate real estate people, because they wouldn't have to build all the desks and cubes. I'm not entirely sure how great that would be for end users, but I think we're usually second or third on the list anyway. I don't know. If you do any VR, I'd love to know what you think of it. And how it's gone for you. So, keep us in the loop and let us know. Anyway, a few other things. Let's see. Any other news coming up? Like I said, tomorrow we're going to do some streaming on, we just got to build a demo app. The demo app itself is going to be pretty straightforward. It's all of the other stuff that makes B2X work that is going to be a little bit more involved. So we're going to build a demo app tomorrow. I'm kind of not sure what it should be yet. Part of me wants to build like an ADSB streaming thing, right? Where we could like let people sign up and they could start contributing their airplane data or whatever into the system. And, like we could handle sign-on and onboarding. Not quite sure enough people are going to be interested in that, though, to make it like a meaningful demo. Like, if you were to show up and show that to somebody, they'd be like, what on the hell is ADS? I don't know what any of this thing is. Like, why are you showing me this demo app, right? Like, I don't think we want that. So we'll have to find something, sort of in between. But anyway, so I'm going to be working on that a little bit tomorrow. One of those things that that comes up and it's like, oh no, I better go focus on this. And then... you move on from something else. So that's one chunk of stuff that's coming up. On the other side, next week we're still going to have our hacker friend, come and work on our ARM template with us. Just a matter of scheduling, getting him in the door. Turns out that scope of that project is actually going to grow a little bit. So we're going to be doing the ARM template for ADFS, obviously, for a new domain controller and all that stuff. And a lot of that is what Brett's already built. We're just going to be updating it to like newer Windows Server versions and whatever. There's actually some other stuff that one of our buddies, D. Greg, built. And D. Greg built some scripts and some onboarding tools that actually take it and preload a bunch of applications into ADFS and all that. So that if you want to try different schemes for decommissioning it, like you can just go create one in 30 minutes, kick off your deployment, go get a coffee, come back, you've got a ready to go configured deployment. I think that's key, right? Like we want to do as little manual configuration as possible. That way you can experiment with all sorts of ways to like go and blow things up and have a good time. So I think that'll be kind of cool. And then, like I said, Shannon's got a bunch of stuff that she's gonna be working on in the next over the next few months about EPM that I think will should get all of you quite excited, especially all you security-minded folks. So, anyway, ADFS, ADFS.me. It was originally supposed to be a bare-bones, stupid, simple app that was just going to be type in your name, and we'll tell you if you use ADFS or not. Probably going to be a little bit different, in the sense that I think we're going to have more... What should I do after this? Like, okay, cool, I've got it. Now what? And you think about like what kind of stuff would people, what kind of things would people potentially have? It's like, well, what if you're an end user? What if you're an end user and you stumble over this thing and, maybe we should let you write a letter to your administrator saying, hey, like, I want this. I want passwordless. I want this. I want that. Perhaps we give you, if you're an administrator, a way to go do something in the portal directly. Just say, hey, I'm ready to go move my ADFS off. All sorts of, I think there are all sorts of different things we could get into, but for the moment, we need to get our basic stuff working. Just get like a really super simple page up that lets the user type in their thing and away we go. So I'm going to try to get that wrapped up today, at least get it up and deployed and hosted and all that sort of fun stuff so that anybody can go and do it. So let's take a look and get into our folder here. So let's see, adfs.me. There's our page. Now, last time we did this, we had a friend who sort of challenged us to say, hey, why don't you do this with vanilla JavaScript? And I suppose we could still do that. I'm not saying we shouldn't. We used API management to get our service thing up, right? So if we were to take our little service URL and we put this into like our terminal or whatever, and we did a curl on it, you'll see. We'll JQ that clown there. You'll see that we get, because we did email, we didn't actually put something in there, we get this. But if we were to put an actual address in there, like for example, I'll put in my test account, which is adfs.lol, of course. Now you see, we get all sorts of information, right? Let's just make decisions about what people are doing, blah, 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 blah. So, we had last time we were working on this, we had this little guy going here. I wonder if I make this screen any different, does it change the size? Oh yeah, it does. I don't think I like that. I think I'm gonna have to put normal monitors back in like an adult, sadly, because I don't play video games, and the whole thing's all like, ooh, gaming performance. It's like, yeah, I'm terrible. Like, I'd like to play video games. I'm just really bad at them. So I don't know. I think this might go back. Anyway, so we're gonna essentially really quickly we're gonna make a call. All the call is gonna do is go tell us what our thing is, and then we were doing a fetch, checking to see if we got it. If the auth URL has ADFS in it, then we're just gonna pretty much. If it doesn't have it, we're gonna say okay, like we don't have it, right? And I think what we were looking at last time. Now you have to bear with me because I haven't looked at this since we looked at it last time. I have not opened this since whatever day that was, a month ago or whatever. So we got this form, and we want to submit the form. And on form submission, essentially, we want to call some JavaScript. And then we've got resources that are available. So, hey there, it could be applied. Thanks for following us. Welcome. We're doing our friend challenged us to do some vanilla JavaScript, so I'm trying to go back to the deepest reaches of my brain that didn't have much JavaScript in it in the first place to try to figure out if we can figure out how to submit. How do I essentially submit a form to a JavaScript function? That's essentially what we're trying to do. And for whatever reason, form submit did not seem to work. So I'm going to get our host up here. We'll use this live server. And again, this is one of these things that's it's going to be really lame because I'm going to have to switch between, I have to switch between apps or whatever because of this dumb monitor. So I'm not, it's not dumb. I love it. I think it's great to look at, but it's just not very useful, sadly. So I wonder if I was to switch that, now at least all you can see it's just a fairly manual thing. So let's do our simple thing, right? Let's see, we had adfs.lol, and then on submit, let's see, on submit, my mouse will connect. There we go. All we're doing essentially is getting a post back to the page, or we're posting back to the page, which we don't actually want to do. We want to catch that. And we want to cancel it. So I need to figure out how to do that. How do we submit a form to JavaScript function? I don't know. I feel like this feels far more difficult than I think it probably should be. Well, either that or, let me be more clear, I am probably making it far more difficult than it needs to be. So let's see here. In our HTML, we have, let's see, here's our form. On submit, we have the on submit action. It wouldn't be on click on the submit button, would it? Because that seems like that doesn't seem like a good idea. Maybe it is though. Am I wrong? would the on click, or really the on submit event, or is there even an on submit event? Maybe there's not one. Yeah, there is an on submit event. Okay. So form on submit, we've got a function, right? So we'll call this form submit, right? Now, I think we actually need the delegate because we want to be able to cancel it, right? So we want the signature needs to include the event and the form, but how do we get the event? And that's the part I'm not so sure about, right? Because we can get the form, I assume, with a this, but how do we get the event? This is where my lack of any proper understanding of JavaScript is starting to become a little bit more broken, I suppose. So let's see here. Because we actually don't want to post back at all, right? So submit form to JavaScript without submit a form to JavaScript function only. Because we need the event, so we got to cancel the event, right? That seems like the most reasonable thing, right? Is a pure JavaScript submission of said form, and we don't actually do. We need to capture the event because we need to cancel the event, right? So we want to cancel submission. Maybe it does have to be the submit button, which, I mean, we probably don't want to. I don't want to burn too many. I don't want to burn too many of these, but so let's see. On submit, form submit this. And then we have no action though, and I wonder if is it the lack of action that's causing it to be a little, maybe causing it to be a little wonky, and just be like, nah, I'm not going to do this. All right, let's see. We are on port 5500. So let's get our browser back up here. I feel like there's probably some sort of JS fiddle or something we could even do instead of me trying to do this locally, right? That seems like perhaps even a smarter thing to do than for me to try to sit here and switch between all these different things, right? Because all right, let's do that. Let me switch over to the browser thing here. And I'll have to do the silly browser swapping stuff, which I think will probably be better for everybody. So let's see, what is it? JS Fiddle? Is that the one everybody uses, or is there a different one that we should use? This is the one I've used before, but I think you have to pay money and stuff, which I have not done. So I don't want to blow it up too much. Okay. So we really do have super basic code. So we go grab our really basic form here. I kind of feel like this is going to end up being a better dev environment for us, and so we can run quickly and see output and blah, 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 blah. So there's our HTML. Here is our submit email function that goes and fetches or interrogates our thing. So no library, pure JS. Okay. So, we need some CSS too. We will need that because I guess we're showing and hiding things based on some CSS. So I guess we should probably include that too. Okay. All right. Let's run this. Cool. So this is what we had on our other screen. And if I was to do an email address here, oh, it needs to be an email address. That's right. We've got luckily our validation stuff is there from the browser. So we try to submit that. And now we get a page that doesn't exist because the submission's happening, right? Which is great because now we can confirm this thing's trying to post back to itself. And obviously that is not going to work. So let's tidy this up. So collapse this function. We got to figure this one out. This is one we got to figure out. Now, where is... Somebody has a signature for this, right? Right? So, JavaScript form events. Let's see what we got. Who would be someone that we can trust is going to tell us proper I guess MDN would be a good one too. Okay. So when a user clicks the submit a button, that's one of ours, right? So on submit, what is this? This is not useful at all. So this just goes and gets the stuff, but the action is that it sends you somewhere else. We need to cancel said action, right? So I don't know if that's necessarily comprehensive enough for us to know. Okay. Oh, so we could add an event listener. So on submit is the event is what gets submitted. Okay. And then the submitter would be the form or the button. So that's our submit button. Okay, this is good. I feel like we're getting there. Log submit, event prevent default, bam. We know we want that. Now this is adding an event listener to submit. So let's see here. If I was to, let's clean this up, make it a little bit easier to read. Can I make this smaller? No, I bet I could if I paid for it. Oh well. So let's see. So we want to get rid of this. Or actually, so the signature of our form submit is literally just the event, right? I suppose we could include perhaps extra stuff with this. So if this is our on submit, we're saying event, and then the event, we're going to prevent the default, we're going to submit the email. For now, I'm literally going to alert. We're here. Or I guess we could probably be better to console.log that, I imagine. We're here. So we're in our event. And then let's see. Let's also write out, I don't know if this is going to work, but we'll try to stringify our event and see. Okay. So let's give it our thing here. Okay. So enter still submits it, which we don't want. So that's not going to work. So, oh wait, we don't have a submit either, do we? We only have a button of type submit. I wonder if that's why. Is our form just like wrong in the first place? Oh no, it's a button type submit. Okay. That's all good then. So add event listener. It's just submit. So the event listener is submit, right? But that's okay. So the event listener is submit. We have a form, we have our log, and log submit is the function. So this is a reference to the function as the event listener. Okay, I mean, let's try it this way, because I honestly don't care. I don't have any sort of, we must do it this way sort of thing. Okay, so our form is, or we'll call this, check form, is document.get elements, or get element by ID. And did we give our form a name? Form 1. So let's give it maybe a more useful name. We'll just call this, whatever. We'll call this, maybe we call this account form. That makes sense. I don't know why. I don't know what else we could possibly need to call it, but whatever. So, and then the ID, of course, is account form. So we've got our form, right? And then we're going to do the account form we're going to add an event listener to the submit and what's going to be to our form submit. All right, let's do this. Bam. Okay. Looking good, looking good. So we've got our form, our account form, add event listener. Looks like that's what we're doing here is we're finding the form, getting the element by the ID, of course. We have an event listener for submit. Our submit does not have anything on it. Our form has nothing on it either. So let's get rid of this, clean that up a little bit. Okay, our submit button doesn't have any sort of actions or items on it. So let's, I don't know, I guess let's see. ADFS, oh well. Okay, so I hit enter and we have console messages. So that's good, I suppose. Let's see. Event prevent default is not a function. Okay. Prevent default is undefined. Okay, so I guess that's good in the sense that we did end up in the right place. Okay, we're here. The only thing we have is trusted on our form. I guess there'd be no default though, right? We don't actually have to prevent the default here because the form doesn't get submitted to anything, right? So, oh, but they're still doing a prevent default here. That's interesting. Form, add event listener. Okay. We're adding the event listener, but this is saying that prevent default doesn't actually exist. That does not make a whole lot of sense to me. Unless it has to do specifically because we're like in like a sandbox, because this is like the JS fiddle environment and that sort of thing, right? But nonetheless, our event's firing and we're making it, which is great. So let's clear this console for a sec. Normalized. What does normalized CSS mean, I wonder? Okay. Oh no, I can't make this go away now. Won't go away. Uh-oh. Oh, come on. There we go. Okay. Okay, so now we're not getting our error. So maybe that was an old error or something that was left over. And if you press enter, same thing. Cool. Okay. So let's save this. We'll run it again. We're here. Cool. We're in there. Awesome. We're not getting redirected. Enter works. All the normal submissions work. That means all of our accessibility stuff would work. So if somebody's using like an accessible keyboard or something else, that would all work correctly, which is good. So now we got to go do. Now we got to go do our other work, right? So this is in our submit email. So we're going to submit the email. And submitting the email, I guess what we should really do is we'll probably go find the parent form. That seems like the right thing to do, right? And we'll pass in the email as a string. This isn't TypeScript, I guess. We don't have to worry about that. So let's get the email. Now, the form itself would be the, I believe that was called the submitter. Is that right? Let's see. The submitter is the HTML element which identifies the button or other element that was invoked to trigger the form being submitted. So that would be, well, could be a button, but I imagine what happens if you press enter? What is it then? I guess there's only one way to find out. Actually, who knows how much submitter even, does submitter even have anything on it? And how broad browser compatibility? Okay, it's there. Okay. Okay, so if the submission was not triggered by a button, the value of submitter is a null. So what happens if you were to press enter? I imagine nothing would happen. Maybe maybe I'm overthinking this, not we. I don't want to speak for you. But I feel like maybe I'm overthinking this a little bit. Because we're already linking to a specific form, so there's probably not a whole lot of like reusability we really have to worry about here. So let's just get our form. I wonder, actually, I would imagine. We should be able to access our account form in here, right? Like, can we get the submitted data through the form object, or do we just go directly to the item? This list is for form submit and logs the current event timestamp. Okay, that's fine. But does the event give us a mechanism by which... What is the form data event? After the entry list representing the form data is constructed. What happens when the form is submitted? I see. Maybe form data is the way to go. So this is after. Interesting. Okay. Interesting. Okay. So this is an event listener for submit, which handles the submission. Yeah. See, this feels cleaner because this feels like we're actually going into the form that was submitted to this function, as opposed to, actively looking at it, right? So. So the submit event listener can take in the form elements themselves, right? Or we can just get the form data itself. So this is the form data event listener. Okay. But I guess since we're going to have to cancel the submission, we're still going to end up in this place. And we can use query selector off of the form itself, right? Or we can use, off of the form as a child of the form, as opposed to coming in, from like a global scope. We can come in from the form scope off the form itself. And then we can use the form data object. And form data is the thing that's going to go build up. It's going to call this event. Oh, actually. No, sorry. We don't need these at all. Because form data takes the whole form. And then we just do a get. So this feels pretty good. So it's a form data that takes in a form. Okay. So in here, okay, so we got our account form. On submission, I'm always tempted to say, let's just move this into the thing itself, but whatever, we don't have to do that. Okay, so on the submission, we're going to create a new, let's see, we'll call this data. This is a new form data, and in it, we're going to take the account form. And then in theory, our email should be data.get email. Right? So let's just console.log that email for a sec, just for the sake of simplicity. Okay? Let's run this and let's see what we get. Bam, look at that. Awesome. So the only thing that's in here really, I really do wish that we could somehow get the form out of the event. It feels very strange to me that the form itself is not part of its submission event. Like, what? Or would it not? I mean, there's got to be some way to get there has to be some way to get the object for which the event was fired. You dig? Like, you see what I'm saying, right? Sorry, I didn't realize that thing was up on my screen all the time. Sorry about that. How do you get the event? I wonder. No, form submit. Yeah. And that event object didn't have anything on it. Okay. You know what? We'll come back to my neuroses on this later. Okay. So we got our email. Cool. So this would mean that if I do that, we get over here, which is great. I wonder if there's, I'm sure there's some sort of external cores, something going on that this thing probably doesn't like because it's a sandbox, but I think we're good enough that we could probably go over back to our, we could probably go back to our VS Code, yeah? Let's see. Yeah, we can't, I don't think we can go get that. Yeah. The origin is not allowed by our origin because I thought our origin, I thought in our API management we did add any origin. Let's go take a look. Portal.azure.com, our old friend, the Azure portal. Let's see here. Let's see. Where is our APIM for this? It's not LOL. Maybe it is. No. Where's our APIM? I know we've got an APIM in here somewhere. Let's see, API management services. Let's go look and see what we've got. This one is in, oh, it's in our user realm proxy. That's right. That's the one that it was in. Cool. Okay. So, oh, I gotta go we gotta do a multi-factor thing here. Get that done. 32786. There are folks here today working on our house because apparently there was a bat dropping in the ceiling. I have to like, I guess they gotta button it all up so nothing so nothing comes into our attic. So anyway, let's go look here. I thought we'd set a CORS policy, but perhaps we did not. So here's our user realm. Okay. And here's our CORS policy. And oh, we didn't. We were too restrictive. So we added our CORS testing place. We added adfs.me, of course, since that's going to be one of them, and we added localhost. I suppose we could add JS Fiddle here, right? As opposed to star, I guess, but I mean, we could also use star. Well, I don't know, because I don't know. Let's see, fiddle.jshell.net is what we need to add in here. So let's add fiddle.jshell.net. We don't need a CORS test anymore. Let's save that one. Cool. And now we'll go back and try this again. I imagine it might take a minute. Let's see. Okay. This is good. Data namespace type to lower is not a function. So that means we are actually making, our calls. That's good. So we got our CORS issue resolved. Let's go back over here into our JavaScript, and it's because I am writing I believe that must be that's the C# way to do it, is it not? Like to camel cased or however it's supposed to be cased or whatever. That must be what it is. Okay. Let's see here. Let's see. We'll do this one. Okay. Something happened. I'm not sure what, if anything. So let's see. Did we get any console messages? No? Okay. So, I guess we'll just set up a little bit of logging here. Let's see. Okay, so we're gonna check. We'll check our email, I suppose. Just sort of see what we got. Okay. Let's check this one. And so we have an email address, which is great. So then that's coming through. So we're going to go check. So if it is unknown, we're going to bomb because we don't know what to do with it. If it's not federated, we're basically just going to exit, which is probably what's happening here. So the last question would be, and we got to fix this too lower here. The last question is going to be if adfs.ls is in there. So let's look at our GPD at adfs.lol and Bueller, not looking good. So let's, I'm just going to write out this JSON, although we might have to stringify it first. Let's see. Oh, no, there it is. Okay, cool. So, data namespace type. So I wonder then, it's namespace. I mean, it's weirdly capitalized, right? So... But because like it is case sensitive, right? I would imagine. It is case sensitive in this regard, which would lead me to believe hey, BSD guy, glad you're here. Welcome. What am I missing? So this returns us a JSON object, right? Our data object. So why? Are we saying that this doesn't, are we saying that the capitalization here is what's causing this to break? Because that's sort of what it feels like. Wait, what? Namespace type? I mean, come on now. Please don't be that. Okay, so at least it's undefined. Okay, so wait a minute. What am I doing wrong? There's something here is not working correctly. So the data is namespace type. That is the name of the field, right? And the field here is name space type. Okay. I need to, I think we're going to put a default email address in here in our form. I'm tired of typing an email address in every single time. Placeholder. I can probably go ahead and put a value in here, right? There we go. Cool. Oh. Wait, what? So wait a minute. Now that works because I didn't type it in. Hold up now. Okay, so that's managed. Okay, so maybe it is working then. Okay, so that one's unknown. Okay, so I guess we're all right. Now, if I take the value out, presumably that's not going to make it break. So let's see, adfs.lol. No, okay, good. All right, cool. So if it's unknown, I guess we just need to what? Let's just make the whole screen green. That seems like a good thing to do, right? Or no, maybe we should redirect them to somewhere that's awesome because they're not using ADFS anyway. So where should we send some? What would be a cool website to send somebody to if they're not using ADFS? Welcome to the modern world. Let's see here. Oh no, this might take us to some weird places. I'm not entirely sure I should have searched for that. What's like a great place? Like a great, amazing place to be. Like a utopia. Like the end of the Matrix. Where was the end of the Matrix? Oh, no, not Machine City. Or like in Gone in 60 Seconds when it talks about like was it GTP 4 cam and it says, champagne falls from the heavens and velvet ropes part. Oh, Do you all, okay, I'm going to age myself here. Who remembers ytmnd.com? You're the man now, dog. I wonder if there's a good one of these that we can use to send somebody to. Although then they'd probably say, wait a minute, I have no idea what any of this means. And they probably won't like that. Somebody will probably get upset. But that's okay. We just need a test for now. We're just going to redirect them somewhere fun. Let's see. Let's do... I'm going to see if there's anything from Gone in 60 Seconds. Just because it's such a terribly amazing movie. I think it was a guy, Christopher somebody. He plays the evil guy in Gone in 60 Seconds, and he said in an interview like the worst movie he ever made. I wish I could remember his name, Christopher something. He's like, yeah, obviously apparently some super accomplished actor or whatever. Christopher Eccleston? No, it's not. Something like that. Okay, so what's a good... I need a good YTMND to send people to. So if you come up with a good one, let me know. Because right now I've just got to get somewhere. I got to get to like a family-friendly one of these. Yeah, this might be a corner of the internet I have to stay away from. Maybe it was funny when I was like 16 and it's not anymore. Anyway, if you're all good, so it's unknown, we don't know what to do with you. We're going to send you to, I guess we can do a window.url, right? We'll just go to Google for the moment. Maybe I shouldn't send them to Google. That seems like a bad idea, right? Being a Microsoft thing and all that. So let's go to Bing. Why is my, let's see, ADFS migration? Is it S or is it Q for search query in Bing? Let's see. Let's see if this works. Oops. Bing.com/Q ADFS. That worked. So it's Q is the parameter, right? So let's go Q, and we'll go to, and the query will be ADFS migration. For the moment, however, probably best to just say, let's do a body dot, oh no, how do you set CSS in vanilla JavaScript? Oh my God, I feel like I have no idea what I'm doing, which I feel like that a lot. I feel even more like that today. JavaScript set CSS. Like, I feel like I have no idea what I'm doing. Okay. Document query selector. Oh, pizza. Oh, okay, so it is just style. Oh, that seems suspiciously easy. But we're going to try. So this would be, let's see, document.body.style.background color equals, we'll say, orange. Is that right? JELLO. Oops, sorry. Not Jello. I meant hello. Since I don't think they used. No, okay. Let's find. Let's see. Do we have? How do we get an unknown one? An unknown one's probably something that's like just gibberish, right? Okay. So if it is, let's see. So our namespace type to lower of unknown. We're not getting our console warning. Oh, because I'm not saving it. God. You think I'd know what I was doing by now. But there's still no, let's see, console.log. I guess I should have kept my console log in there so we can see what's going on, right? Console.log. This will be data.namespace type. So this is a federated one, weirdly enough. So what other ones were in this list that I had, just for the sake of, you know. Let's see what this one is. Oh, I still need an email. A@. Okay, so this one is unknown, so that's good. We're not getting our warning, but I'm wondering if that's maybe possibly because of the thing. So let's just change this to, or let's just add a console.log, bad news. Let's see, we'll just do, this is unknown, just to see if we're actually entering this method, weirdly enough. Okay, so we're never even entering the method. Probably because I forgot to lower, or I should have too lowered when I should have done something else, or maybe it actually is too lower with the camel casing and I did the wrong thing earlier. Entirely possible, one of those things that could happen. Oh, no, that doesn't work. Okay, so too lower does not. Does too lower lowercase? I mean, that is the method, right? It's too lower lowercase. No, it's not. So, do I need to to-string it first? It must not be a string because it's a property. Okay, so what actual type? What is the type of a data object that comes out of there? Resp.json, what's that going to return? Uh-oh. Okay. Here we go. Fetch API. Say response.json. Response, oh, here we go. .json method. So it returns a promise, okay. But we're awaiting it, so that's fine. Okay. So they're just accessing it through the name. So it doesn't seem like there's not like a type there necessarily, right? And then read the values out of the resulting objects as you'd expect and insert them into list items to display product data. Okay. So is there like a value property or anything that comes off of this, or? Because I feel almost like there's some like magic happening that's keeping that from working, you know? No? Okay. So it's just quote. I wonder if the quotes are getting in there. I wonder if that's it. Let's see. How could we get the raw values? Let's see. Fetch JSON raw values. Okay. It's almost as if there's like an extra set of quotes in there. Let's see. Fetch JSON API. Let's see. Quotes. Requires double quotes, will not accept single quotes, nor will the parser. Let's find something that includes quotes. Or the stringify thing is what's making that blow up. So it's also possible too, because I'm just trying to do it with a string. And what's the too lower for, what is too lower on JSON or on strings? Like, I thought that was too lower case. All the time. Too lower case. Okay. Cool. So there were many parts of this that were incorrect. That's okay. So that's a managed one. Great. Or federated. Great. Okay. So now we've got that correct. And then let's go do our completely bonkers unknown one. There we go. Okay. And if we're federated, or sorry, if we're not federated, then background color is green. And maybe we should do like hey, you should go buy your admins a beer or something, right? So let's see. Let's go get our H2. Page title. Let's just go get our. It's not the page title, but whatever. And then let's set our like inner text to get your admins a beer. Okay, so federated there, cool. We're not showing our stuff, which we need to fix, but federated. Federated, cool. Cool, that works, although it didn't change my page title like I hoped it would. Did set the thing to green, however, which is good. So we get our element, page title, inner text. Maybe it's not inner text anymore. I don't even know anymore. Let's see. Oh wait, sorry. That's an unknown one, not the right one. Let's do this one. My title's still not changing. Hey Fuel, what's up? What's cracking, friends? I decided to do this in JS Fiddle today because it's just too I was an idiot. I went and bought a stupid ultra wide monitor, which is awesome because it's cool to work with. It really sucks for doing like screen sharing and meetings and streaming and stuff. So kind of bummed about that, but that's okay. Such is life, right? Anyway, so we're trying to do this in like all JavaScript, which is proving interesting. So. I mean, it seems to be working though, which is great. I'm tempted to take this back over to back to our VS Code, but so if the namespace type is federated, or sorry, if it's not federated, well, I guess there are other cases though, because if you're not federated, what's really good is if you're managed. But if you're federated with something else, you still have to ask, like, why are you even federated with that thing? Right? So I think really our case is if you are make sure this is dumb. Let's do ns type. Just so I don't have to keep typing that over and over again. Name space type 2 lowercase. Okay, ns type. And then this one the same thing. Ns type. So if this one is managed, which means good, this is the case by which we want these things to happen, right? I should do like a switch case on this thing, but whatever. So if you're managed, we want to give you mad kudos, and we want to tell you to go get your boss and tell them, or not your boss, but get your network admins and be like, hey, network admin, you're doing the right thing. You're giving me password lists. You're giving me all these awesome things that I wouldn't have if I was still using ADFS. So, if it's unknown, we don't really know what to do with you, we're going to get out of here. If it's managed, you're good, and we're going to, we can take you somewhere awesome, right? Let's see, champagne from the heavens. Maybe that's actually a good thing to do. Or we could figure out how to we could have a join the ADFS street team. Which is it's like a group of people who are really into migrating ADFS. Okay, so my get element by ID page title does not seem to be working. Why can't I change the text of my H2? Probably because I presumably, as has happened prior, I have no idea what I'm doing with no idea really what I'm doing with JavaScript. Okay, so that's managed. Now, get element by ID page title text. Get your admins a beer. Get element by ID, and it's an H. Get element by ID, and it's a header. So we have the ID, right? Get the element by the ID. Okay, so the header objects, right? So there's a, let's see, title. No, okay. The capitalization of ID in the name of this method must be correct for the code to function. Get element by ID is not valid and will not work, however natural it may seem. I don't know if it feels very natural at all. Unlike other element lookup methods like document query selector, get element by ID is only available as a method of the global document object and not available as a method on element objects in the DOM. Okay. Okay, so I guess then what we want to look at is the H element, which presumably is going to inherit from some other kind of an element. So that's probably going to be in the DOM, right? And then HTML heading element. Okay. Cool. All right. So it doesn't do anything except for HTML element. And we want to set the inner text, right? Is that a method though? Inner text is aware of the rendered appearance of the text while text content is not. Okay, so interesting. Is inner text a method though? No, it's a property, right? So if it is a property, then it's inner text equals. It's crazy. Okay. Inner text equals. I mean, this is like properly bicycle stuff. Like this is really like hurting my brain pieces. You know what I mean? I just feel like it just feels so like weird and it seems like so clean, but also so unnatural. Okay. So we're setting our inner text property. See, I think inner text was a method in jQuery. Again, aging myself. I think it was a thing in. I think it was in jQuery. Okay. So if it's managed, we're gonna say, hey, you need to go get your admins a beer. But people probably aren't gonna like that either because somebody say, well, I don't drink beer, which is fine. I don't drink beer. I don't really drink anything because it makes me sick. But okay, so if it has ADFS, then we're done, right? or sorry, if it does not contain ADFS. So this is the case where it's not federal. Oh, sorry. Managed means Azure AD. So this is Azure AD authentication, right? Unknown, we don't know. TBD. We'll figure that out later. If it's managed, it's AAD. If it's not equal to federated, this seems more like a guard clause that I guess we've got this here just in case it's something else that we haven't done. So maybe what we'll do is if it's unknown, or, well, I don't know. We should probably use a switch statement here, I imagine. So if it is federated, well, let's stay here for a sec. Now, auth URL property does not exist, however. So if you're federated, actually, I don't even know if we need this. Yeah, I guess we do. So if you've made it to this point and we are not federated, then something went wrong. So we're just going to exit, right? Something's broken. We don't know what. Maybe we'll have something more here later, but looks like for right now, something. If you're not managed and you're not unknown, then you're a new type that I don't know anything about, right? Our dryer is broken. Hold, please. What do you mean our dryer is broken? What do you mean? Okay. So manage, okay, it's federated, and then we have the actual ADFS case. Sorry, this is the not ADFS case. So at this point, if you've made it here, you are both federated and not using ADFS. Which means you're doing something naughty, ultimately. You should use this other stuff. You should use our stuff. You should use our stuff. Oh, what do you know? The 4-year-old decided to pull the rubber ring off. Okay, I'll fix it when I stop for lunch. Okay. So if you're federated and you're not using ADFS, which you should, which you should be using our stuff, then we need to give you migration resources. If you are using, now, and of course if we're exiting here because we find ADFS in the thing, right? Then, so we're gonna let's set our background to bad. Document, body, background, color, or style.background color. We'll make that red because it's bad. Document, body, style, foreground color, we'll set to white, so it's a little bit easier to read, although it might not be easier to read. We'll find out. So this is bad news, right? And then if you are using ADFS, and that's because, I mean, ultimately your auth URL, ultimately, like, this should be true. I guess we could probably do an else here, huh? Else. Although, yeah, we're basically saying this should always return if you're not using ADFS. So then here you are using ADFS, which means we need to give you migration resources. So let's, I don't know how I did that. Document, body, style, background, color. Let's set this one to blue. I don't know. Okay, so let's look at our different cases. So let's look at a federated case. Oh, do I need to save this to make sure? Okay. Save. Okay. So let's look at a known federated case, ADFS at adfs.lol. Okay, so that's federated. So if it's unknown, if it's managed, if it's not federated, oh, sorry. If it's not federated, that's something else. So if it is, oh no, so at this point it should be federated, right? Let's log this just to make sure. And as type. So if it's unknown, if it's managed, if it's not federated, because we're going to exit out of each one of these, right? So if it's not federated, we're going to exit. So if it's unknown, if it is unknown, if it is managed, if it is unknown, is managed, or is not federated, then exit. So the only thing down here should be federated equals true, right? Is my logic correct here? It feels like it is. Okay. Cool, so that one works, okay. We know that's good. What was one of my federated ones? Okay, so we're definitely federated. That's great. Cool. And then our unknown one. Okay, so unknown is good. Okay. So, and we got our we're federated, right? So that's good. So perhaps then, is that incorrect? Okay, so that's an unknown one. ADFS at ADFS. Okay, so that's federated. And I guess we might as well do our auth URL. We did get an error. Maybe we're trying to are we trying to read a property that doesn't exist or something? Or oh, that must be an old one. Let's clear that. So this is data auth URL. Oh, I bet that's why. I think it's capital URL. I bet that's what it is. We can check our curl quickly. Yes, it's auth URL capitalized. Okay. That's okay. So let's just swap this one out just for the sake of simplicity. Auth URL. That way I don't make that mistake again with this strange capitalization. Let's go to our ADFS.lol. Submit. Bam. Blue. Here are our resources. Awesome. Boy, look at that fuzziness. That is nearly impossible to read. So let's not use black text on a blue background, just for future reference. So that's cool. Okay. So now I think what we really got to do is we need to clean this up a little bit. I'm assuming there's a case statement and a switch statement in vanilla straight up JavaScript. Cool, there is. Awesome. So let's get rid of our 4,000 ifs and let's do a switch on NS type. And that's, let's see, case unknown. Oh, wait a minute. I think I do the case unknown and then the bracket, and then we'll do a break. And then we'll have a case managed. Oops. And we'll have a break in there so it doesn't complain, and then we'll have a case. I guess our default case would be what's left, right? Right? That sound about right? Okay, I feel like my switch is not correct here. Is that correct? That feels a little better. Is that works? Okay, so it's not. I don't get a syntax error at least. That's a good start. Okay. Now, our unknown case. Let's take this. Pop this up here. Guess if I am going to exit, I probably don't need a break. So get rid of this here. Great. In our managed case, we're just doing some simple stuff, and then we're going to exit. And then in our last case, I guess it's really our default case, right? Okay, we've got our unknown case, we've got our managed case. We have our... Do we need an explicit federated case? I guess maybe we do, in the sense that if there's some new value that isn't federated, we're gonna have to do so. I just don't feel very good about that. And I'm also not sure if I can do a not equal to federated. Can I do a case that does that? Can you have an expression case? Not equal, let's see a case. Let's see, a case not equal. Let's see, where's our case? I think it's a value. It can't really be the expression. Whatever. So I can't have a case of not. Like a not case, I guess. But that's okay. So at this point, you're not managed, you're not unknown, and I suppose we could always keep we could always put a federated case in here, I guess. But I guess this keeps the stack a little lighter. If NS type is not equal to federated, then we're just going to return. Something's totally, we've errored at this point, right? Okay. Okay. Okay, so by this point, you are federated. Now, if you're not using our stuff for federation, I mean, in all honesty, I guess, does it even matter? I mean, ultimately, we don't want you to use any kind of federation if you don't have to. I mean, obviously, there's some reasons why you do. So, the option would be, if you're not using ADFS, then we need to give you stuff to get out of it. Maybe the resources are different depending on where you're coming from. Like maybe we can handle a couple of those cases. For the ADFS stuff, we have a lot of specific resources, which I don't have. I got to go get the list of them. But at this point, we think you're using ADFS, so it's time to migrate. Let's not pick blue. Let's pick another color. What other colors do we have for background color? Java, script, background. Oh, let's do a gradient. Let's do a gradient. If you're using ADFS and ready to leave. Here we go. A background image. Okay. Ooh, this one looks good. Nice. So we're gonna set this. We're gonna set this because it's time for a party, right? It's time for us to get like you've checked all the boxes. So this is a background image, and then the big question will be what exactly is the format by which we need to set this? I'm hopeful that it is merely a string, although I am not terribly confident. Okay. So something we know is using ADFS, adfs.lol. We're federated. It looks like our background image did not work. Let's see. Background image. Let's see. Set. Maybe it's not called background image. And can you even set that on the body, right? No, we won't do any of that. Style, background image. Okay. So that is correct. And then, okay. Oh, neat. You can do that in here. I didn't know you could do that in Stack Overflow. Okay, let's see. I guess I could always put this in CSS. We'll just add and remove the, could always just add and remove the class from the, right, like rainbow BG, background image of that, right? And then could always just set the body, let's see, set a, how do we add, remove a class list? I guess we can just do a class list dot add, and we'll just put it to rainbow BG. Okay. Let's go to our known ADFS. Bam. Awesome. Okay. So now I gotta get this all ported over into the other one, but for the moment, I think it's gonna be time to wrap it up for the day. So tomorrow, I mentioned that tomorrow we've got some, I guess we're going to go back to our sort of .NET B2X thing. So if you got to authenticate users from all sorts of different places, from different Azure ADs, from any number of various places, you think about how people authenticate to you. You think about what those relationships are between you and the other folks. When you think about that, how do you do that? And we've talked about this on the show before, and it's, there's nobody's really cleanly doing it yet. There's really nothing out there that does really robust sort of proper multi-tenancy. There's really nothing out there that does the whole gamut just yet. And I feel like we're getting close, but we need some, we got to demo it. So we're going to get into that tomorrow afternoon, which is going to be great. Really excited to do that because it's something that's really important to me, but it isn't super high priorities. I haven't been able to work on it much recently, so I'm really excited to be able to get back into that. Like I said, next week, I believe we're going to have Hacker come and do some Azure ARM stuff with us. Let's go raid somebody. Even though there aren't that many of us, I guess we'll go over to Mr. Fritz for now. Thanks for coming and hanging out with me today. I know it was kind of a last minute thing. We'll be back tomorrow at 11 a.m. Eastern. If you want to come do some .NET with us, let me know. And I'm going to get out of here for now. Hope you all have a great rest of your day, and see you on the other side.